Welcome to the Gransberry Chronicles weekly pick'em. It's your girl, the Gransberry, aka the Stadium Queen. I'm back with my boy D Jones. What's up, D Jones?
What's popping? What's popping? I'm good. How you been?
Good. Shout out to Coach B Pat. At the same time, I know we didn't do the big game last season. Things was moving fast. Week one, I decided to, be on vacay, and that was all me. That was all me. I was on vacay. And then
It's
last
all
week,
good.
I guess I could try to blame you. You was coming back from vacay.
Yeah. I was still
Um,
on vac. I was on my way in, but you
yeah,
can
you was
call
on
it I
your
was on
way.
vacay. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's good to be back. I want to give a shout out first to all of the Gransberry Chronicles Pick'em participants. We got record numbers again this year, over 30 people playing, more people opted in for the prizes. So I do
Mm.
want to give out a clarification on that. I can send that in the email listserv, but I just want to say that we're only picking and giving out awards at the end of the season. It is not a weekly fee and a weekly buy-in. Like I'm not running no whole.
Is that what they was trying to do?
Some people were like, "Oh, I missed my pay." No, there do not put any more registration. Registration is closed.
It's
Um,
closed.
but yeah, I'm grateful for the continued participation. We at season 6 of the weekly
Yeah.
pick'em. So thankful. We rocking and rolling, and so good to have everybody back and get going again. Um, the dynamic is moving. And so, D Jones, do you even know what stadium you at? Because man, I didn't get to get some feedback on you guys all finally made it to SoFi. Obviously, I've been there a few times,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
how did it feel? Like, what was it like?
It was cool. So this 15 for me. I thought it was 16, but I think when I counted my helmets, I had 15. So I don't know if I'm
Did we
missing
have
one.
our own team helmet?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, it was cool. We did stadium tour Saturday.
Okay.
Well, me and my group, some of the guys didn't do it, but the stadium tour after you gave great feedback on it, I definitely wanted to make sure that was part of the trip. So, got to check everything out. It was dope, as you said. It's not an enclosed stadium; it's a covered stadium. So
Correct.
if you go in there, just keep that in mind. And just so happens in Oville, our faithful listener and good friend will attest. We sat together at the game on Sunday, and he was like, "Yeah, it's gonna be a breeze." Nah, we didn't get that. Uh, and on our side, the sun was kind of coming in on the side. So yeah, we got a little heat. It definitely wasn't Houston heat, so it still was a pleasurable trip. But yeah, it was pretty cool. It was fun to see that stadium. It's in my top five. It ain't my top one like yours, but it's in my top five so far.
So I think I'm biased, and the
Hmm.
reason why is probably high on my list is amazing DJs. I watched the NFC Championship there, followed by the Super
Super
Bowl.
Bowl, yeah.
And I watched Thursday night football there, Chiefs versus Chargers with a walk-off touchdown in overtime by Kelsey. So
Yeah,
for me, I've had like such high-level dynamic moments.
yeah.
Um,
And it was just another L for me on my trip. So,
so
so
yes.
on my
So
tour,
so the dynamic is, very different.
yeah,
And I think I was a little bit more consumed with the engineering of it. I really need to spend some time
yeah,
doing some shorts on the different stadiums to encourage more stadium travel.
yeah.
And a small tangent before we really get into week 3 and kind of quickly sum up week 2. There was a recent discussion by a user on social media asking about the way to approach going to the Eagle Stadium. And, it as a stadium is very nice, but it's still in the top 3 of the most difficult fan base to enjoy a game at. And while I think the people who want to defend it the most are always going to be the fan base that attends the games, because everybody wants to believe they're the best fans and all they're doing is cheering for their team. But I will keep in mind that I make sure I put out there that enjoying your game and the camaraderie of your fandom and trying to disrupt the opponent should not translate to being disrespectful to the opposing fan. Because
Mhm.
I don't play football. Now, I assist football players with the opportunity to play football, but I don't play football. And when I'm in the stands, I stand on one side of the line unless I'm just truly there as a spectator, which I was in all of my visits originally to SoFi.
Yeah.
And so I say that to say that sometimes you can't be too biased about your home field because up these things. There are numerous studies, right? And so you have to be truthful about them. And even when I was at the baseball game, if you remember the year we were last in the World Series against Philly, the Philly fans at the Phillies game admitted, well, we're better than the football fans. Why would they tell me that?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And they were winning. They were winning.
Yeah.
So
I
needless
would
to
challenge. I would challenge. Not that I'm sorry. I mean, I thought you was breaking, but I would challenge any fan that feels that way about their team to go to other stadiums and really experience it. And the reason why I say that is because we've experienced. I know you've got them all, but even in my half, I've experienced fans where they were, having fun and giving you, talking noise, having fun and eat and friendly banter, if you will. But you
correct.
know the difference between rude and friendly banter, and when it goes on and goes on, or when it's vengeful or really really hateful words that are being said and things like that. That's when it starts crossing the line. We can have a good time, and cheer our teams on and talk a little noise and keep it above water, right? But yeah, I haven't experienced Philly yet, but it will happen. I'm just not sure how it's gonna happen, but it's gonna happen. But yeah, I'm with you on that. And then one last thing about SoFi, and I have to say this because Oville, prefaced that, when he went, the DJ was amazing. You always talk about the DJ. I didn't get to experience the DJ. Unfortunately, they did not have that same DJ, and we got a heavy dose of the Rams mariachi band.
Okay.
So
Which you
yeah,
already familiar with in Houston. So
oh, they did
was
it way
like
more
a
than we do. We
surprise. Okay.
we give them a segment. They was like the whole game, and
Oh,
even
you
at
know why?
halftime, yeah.
You know why?
Hmm.
It's the culture. It's the
Yeah,
month.
for sure.
It's the month. It's
Okay,
Heritage Month. So
there
I
you go.
think it was probably more of a showcase. So that's probably what happened.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they had
Yeah.
a towel and everything. They had towel and shirts. How
Yeah.
most
Yeah. So
most
that
have the
was
pin.
that's yes.
Yeah, they had a game towel. They had the Texans and the Rams. They had a towel. I got a towel. I got you a pin from Oville. Oville got you a pin.
Shout
But
out to you.
yeah, but they also had shirts. You can buy shirts and hoodies that had the Texans and the Rams on it too. So that was the
Okay.
first time I had
Okay.
seen that. So
Okay. Okay. They went
mhm.
all out for
Yeah, they
for
did
for
in
the
the team
opening.
store. Yeah,
Okay. I
so
like
cool.
that.
Hmm.
I still wish they would get to the point where there's a small amount of the road team's merchandise available on game day, because game day brings out the fan base of that actually lives there too. And
Yeah.
sometimes it's the only time they can get something in person that
Hmm.
doesn't necessarily require them to order online.
Yeah.
I keep feeling like it just some way they need to figure that out. Like there needs to be an NFL shop that travels and has a pop-up shop at every stadium. I'm gonna send
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
Send
I'm
that.
gonna
Send
send that to
that
him.
in.
I'm gonna send that to him because I
I was
think
surprised.
it's a great
I was
idea.
surprised SoFi changes. Uh, based on the home team. I thought maybe the Chargers had a separate store and the Rams had a store. They said they change out all of them, all
They
the
do it every game.
everything every game. So
Yes, the
that's
only
pretty
thing
crazy.
that's different is they do each have their own locker room.
Yeah, they do have different locker rooms, but even my wife was like, "Y'all change all this stuff." So we was like, "Yeah, that's crazy."
Yes. So past that, and then I'm gonna give them a brief shout out. I normally always wear my PV is swag. Today I went with my TSU is swag since I'm an alum of both. So
Mm,
shout out
mm,
all to
mm,
all of the swag,
mm,
all of the swag today. Um, we gotta support, you know. But
mm.
moving into week two and the conclusion of week two, we still have 10 teams that need a win,
Mm.
including that one on your logo. But
For
we
sure, for
got
sure.
10 teams that need a win.
Yeah, 15
And
weeks.
this is true. This is true. And hopefully a few teams find the right matchup for this week to get a win. And I'm not really sure if that's going to happen for everyone. Well,
Probably
I'm
not.
not, probably not. But in that, I want to give a shout out. I think I forgot to look. So, of course, I have to Johnny on the spot, as they would say. And our current first place is IL Texas Eagles. Not really sure who that is, but you're currently in first place.
On the picture.
Our last year's winner is tied also with Dapper Dan, which we know that's Dwayne. And so there's a three-way tie for first, but because of the tiebreakers, IL Texas Eagles is in first place.
What's the record? What's the record? What's the record?
25 and 7.
Okay. We ain't that
25.
far behind. We ain't that far behind.
You know, we're
We ain't
not.
that
It's
far
a lot, it's still stacked on top of each other.
behind.
You
Yeah.
know, as we figure out these teams, I think dynamically, hey Dwayne, that's our first place. Tie for one of our tie for first place. Dapper Dan been a supporter since day one of the show. Good to see you. He's our what's your nickname? You're a Cheagle fan. He's a
A,
Chiefs
a
and an
Cheagle,
Eagles
a
fan.
Cheagle fan. Okay.
Yes, because he likes the Eagles, but his brother
About to play for the
played
Chiefs.
for the Chiefs. If I'm not mistaken, maybe his other brother might have played for the Eagles, but I don't want to quote wrong, but I definitely know one of his brothers played for the Chiefs, and I think he's in the Ring of Honor at the Chiefs as well. Derek Johnson, and then of course he is an Eagles fan, so he probably had a good laugh and time on Sunday.
Mm.
That's like you get to have
Yeah.
every 4 years with
Yeah.
Green Bay,
You
and
can't lose. You
Texans.
can't lose.
You
Yeah.
can't lose. Uh, but yeah, so shout out to them for being in first place. We'll try to give a shout out to our first place guys every week. And did you say you right behind me?
Yeah. You 17. I'm 18.
Oh, okay. So I'm still in first for the show. I mean, I'm undefeated.
Yeah. By tiebreaker. It's cool.
Look,
It's
if it ended today, would I win over you or not?
you would. You would.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And next week we're gonna show you the awesome trophy that I gave out. Um, oh, okay, I was right, y'all.
Yeah.
So Dwayne confirmed that his other brother Dwight was an Eagle. So I knew it was some family ties there. I knew he just wasn't like a random fan. So yeah, so shout out to that. But yeah, so I want to get into this week. Um, some good games. I hey, we couldn't have a better matchup for Monday night. So that'll be our last game
Yeah.
that we, cover. But yeah, so I want to start with us and get us out the way.
Get it out the way. We'll get them out the way.
No,
we,
wait, let me fix that laugh. Let me pause for the moment and give you a solo layout on.
on what? What we doing? What we doing? Why you put me solo? What I do? Well, look. Before we get to the games, I'm gonna give you a rant because she put me on solo. One thing that was bothering me last week that I got to get off my chest. Let me get it off my chest. What's up with these coaches having so much confidence in their kickers to not try to get within 60 yards of a field goal? I get that a 50-yarder is almost a chip shot these days, but I was watching I don't know if you guys saw the Colts and Broncos game, where at the end of that game, the Colts were driving and pretty much let the clock run out with a 60-yard field goal. They had plenty of time to run a couple plays to get a little bit closer, but the coach decided that I guess 60 was close enough. And I can get it if the game was tied and it's basically either overtime or or we win, but they were losing. And if it wasn't for a call on the defense, they would have lost that game because he ended up missing that field goal. So I don't know if you guys are seeing it, but I do notice, and shout out to the kickers that basically I don't know what's going on with these kickers now that's able to kick 50-yarders like they're nothing, and we're expecting them to make a 50-yarder like it was a 35-yarder. But now 60s, if you kick a 60-yarder, you're not even impressed anymore. We had a guy in Jacksonville hit a 70-yarder in the preseason, so I know pretty much once they get midfield, he's in field goal range. But I was just surprised that the coach didn't try to get a little bit closer to kick that field goal to go ahead in that game. Gransberry, you coming back to chime in on this or no?
I'm here.
Okay.
I was listening.
I know you was listening.
Well, there's a new surge in the kicking, right?
Yeah.
And so we've had a long period of where kicking failed teams. Ask the Bears. We went through a season where we lost a few nail biters on missed field goals at the end of the game, literally the end or the last possession. And so that we had. And so in that, I think there was a surgence of trying to start looking at kicking. Like I think before you had a player on the team and you just had him kick. And then he improved his kicking. I'm serious.
You had a player on the team and you just had him kick.
I mean, think about it. I mean, you never really, that's the one guy who was at practice in high school and college. He did his conditioning and he had to come out there and kick so many kicks. Look, they the first ones on the field at every game you go to. Who the first people on the field?
The kickers.
Okay. So all they do is they warm up their leg and watch what I'm saying. I'm not downplaying the talent. I'm saying there was no nurturing of the kicker, right?
Well, I don't know if I would say that, but
I'm talking about now there's research and study to find the right kicker is my point.
Yeah,
and
I mean, yeah, I got
it's
you.
more aggressive. Like you miss a kick, we trying our kickers next week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was the guy used to just be your kicker, right?
Yeah.
And we had more kicking stories in college that we would discuss than we did in the pros. And now there's a surgence of we're really getting guys who have been kicking, not just kickers. They've been kicking. And what we've determined is if you played soccer, you've got a better chance at being a better kicker than an American football player. And when I say American football player, I don't mean American born. I mean the sport American football versus football, which we call soccer only in America.
Yeah. So, I heard what's Dallas kicker's name? Aubrey.
Aubrey, yes.
I think part of his story was he was at home and watching with his wife watching ball, and she said you can miss it like that. And that's when he was like, oh, well, let me give this a try. But
seriously.
Yeah.
And so I mean, and if you watch, on College Game Day, same thing. It's people who put effort into kicking that actually win the money.
Yeah.
So shout out to Gonzalez, another faithful watcher. Correct. There's a kid on the team. He's all the way from Australia. He's a little homesick at the same time, but he's trying to do his thing and be a great kicker. And I'm here for it because
I'm with it.
Because that's your rant. My second rant has been my rant probably even before we were on air together, probably even when I was in Dallas on another podcast and just throughout our friendship and talking about football in the chat, I've always had an issue with, I think it's very important to be more serious about the backup quarterback. Because in 1 week, you have 4 teams that now have to start somebody else for multiple weeks. And when you have such a huge brand, it was the running joke that the backup quarterback was the best paid gig in the NFL because you hold a clipboard. And that's true.
It's true.
But at the same time, there needs to be there, it should be like 1A and 1B as far as your level of drop off. Before, I would say now everybody uses COVID as a marker. Pre-COVID, right? You would always say if you lost your quarterback, your season was over. Like people just stopped going to the games. The price of tickets went to 50% off. It didn't matter what team it was, right? You had no hope. You were done. And I said, as much as we put into these teams and our efforts to watch them, there should not be that huge of a drop off. You should start to, if you build your team a certain way and you decide on what type of quarterback you want as your starting quarterback, you should have a similar person in position as the backup. It should not require a whole new rework in order for you to go into the next week. So if you run an offense with a strong line and a pocket passer, that's what your backup should be. If you run a style of play that has a lot of my mind went blank.
Running.
No, don't say running.
What you mean? Option?
Yes, a lot of option.
Okay.
Then your backup should be able to run option too. It shouldn't be a huge drop off that if your backup try to run that play, he dead in the water. Now, mind you, we're going to have some originality. You're not going to be Lamar, right?
That was going to be the first thing
you're not going to be Lamar.
And it's not that you're not going to have the same style. It's just going to be a bigger drop off.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so you would just probably call for that less, and you would push more to focus on your plays with your running back, in this case, Henry, versus more plays with the backup to lead. And because I just believe that if we're going to say we are a league of professionals and everybody's supposed to be capable of their job, it should not be that much of a drop off. It should definitely change because it is not synonymous. They're not going to be equal. That's not my point. But you when you build your receiver room, right? You build it with somebody who can run the slot. Right.
Yeah.
You hold it like you holding an opinion over there. It's like you want to come for me, but
no. It's not coming for you. It's just healthy debate, right? So, and it's not that I disagree. So that's why it's not coming for you. I just don't think it's realistic because, but the point I'm gonna throw out at you is being a fan snob. That brings division in that locker room because when the starter is not performing, what's the first thing we're going to say as fans? Or if you're in that locker room, you start looking twisted because you think this guy's just as good. You're gonna call for the backup quarterback. You're gonna call for a change, and I don't think they want that division or that conflict, if you will, to be out there.
So the next man up has caveats, and it only applies in injury.
Absolutely, it does. Absolutely, it does. That's why you pay a starter $50 million a year, and your backup gets $6 million. Absolutely, it has caveats.
But here's the even bigger one though. When we're at work, right, we have a job to do, and you may be paid more or less than your counterparts. But when your butt is out, they got to do the job.
They still got to do the job, and they do.
Do the job.
They do. It's just not as successful.
And if it's not as successful, you're gonna be replaced.
That's fair.
Okay.
That's totally fair.
I'm okay with this. It used to really be like this.
It still is. You keep saying which team? Name one.
I would say right now, I would say the Bengals, not just because they won. I would say Browning is a decent backup. they're not too far off in their style of play.
The style is the style. I'm talking about the talent.
Okay.
There's a huge gap between Joe Burrow
Okay. Okay. Yeah,
and Browning.
I'm not making the talent equal.
Yeah, I think the style you can't coach a different style. I mean, the style of your offense is just the style of your offense. You really can't change. I mean, I don't think you can. I
I
think,
guess I use the example when Watson was the starting quarterback for Houston,
and
and
we
the
didn't have.
backup was Savage.
Yeah,
That's
we didn't have a
you,
comparable.
you
That's a great
literally
example. That's a great
yes,
example.
you literally have to redesign your offense in 3 days to make it work for that quarterback.
Well,
And
to be honest, he had to redesign the offense for Watson because when he put Watson in his rookie year, he tried to do the same thing that he was doing before, and that wasn't conducive to Watson. He had to change it. But yeah, you're right.
okay,
We didn't have it. But that's a great example.
and
That's a
I
great example.
feel like in the last couple of years that Baltimore was more strategic in how they picked their backup.
Fair.
And so to me, you pick what is in your available pool to be a backup. It doesn't mean that they're going to have to be him. Nobody thinks when the backup comes out, they should be playing just like him. But I also think we can see some of the same plays.
Hmm.
So it's more. I just know there are a lot of fans that are in a tough spot, even without the ones that are 0-2, that are like, dang, it's week 2 and we already don't have our quarterback anymore.
Yeah. I
And
mean, the
so
Vikings have a backup that's comparable to their starter. So,
I was going to the Vikings next,
and
but
they're not gonna win either way. But
but
I'm just
well, I'm
that's
not going
that's
there
the
with
Packer
you.
in me. That's the Packer in
But
me.
but even last year, I felt like they built the team correctly to immediately be prepared when they lost JJ last year, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
I think that when they looked at how they wanted to run their team, they picked a comparable backup
They did.
that
Yeah.
ended up being a starter. So I'm just saying it's not always a perfect marriage, but I used to really believe that, I could not understand or fathom with all this talent in this amazing world that we have, that we keep saying, you're telling me we can only get 20 to 25 greats. Because I know a lot of people are using fillers at quarterbacks right now. So I get it. But we can't find anything more comparable. I think there's just sometimes just a comfort. And that comfort we see, right? Because we see the same people. Everybody's like, why is the same person going to all these different teams? Well, they're a good professional. They study the book quick. They pick up plays. They've played enough pro ball. So you don't have to start from the beginning. All those things matter.
Yeah. Ag-
So, all
Agreed.
right, I'm off my tangent.
Nah.
And so, since I'm off my quarterback tangent, I think I'd rather start with the backup bowl since we just talked about quarterbacks. And so, the first game we'll hit up it's going to be, is it the Bengals versus
The Vikings.
Vikings? And so,
Mhm.
they're both going to have to start their backup quarterbacks. So, tell me, who you going with?
I'm gonna go with the home team on this one. I'm gonna go with the Vikings. I just trust the home team. I trust the defense over there with Flores and his blitzes and disguises against Browning. I love the talent on the Bengals side. I just do not like the Bengals defense, and I think Carson Wentz will be able to come in. He's a pro, like you said, and he'll be able to get this win this week. So I'm gonna go with the home team on this one.
Okay, I really don't, disagree there. I do think Wentz is just a good professional when it's needed, and um, I just don't think there's enough pieces to carve out Justin Jefferson. I just think him alone. He just needs somebody to throw the ball.
You just got to get in the ball.
We just got to get him the ball. So in that sense, that's just how I see that matchup going. So that's one off the table. And then I guess we can, squeeze ourselves in there quickly. Houston versus Jacksonville.
Hmm.
Houston's the last team in the division needing a win at this point.
No, that's not. Is that true? Tennessee?
Coach Tennessee, I thought
They
they won.
0-2.
Oh, that's right. They
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 0.
ended up losing at the end.
Yeah,
That's
they
right.
0-2.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, they play the Colts this week, so um but as far as Jacksonville on the road, how you feeling?
Oh, we play well in Jacksonville. I forget what the streak is right now. I think we got a winning streak in their stadium. Probably even overall. No, I think just in their stadium. So I think we get our first win this week. I think we improved last week. Went up against a solid defense, and we just didn't take advantage of the opportunities that we had. Um, I think youth, uh, our youth on offense is showing, and when I say that, I'm saying from the coach, from the OC down, as far as getting things in line. But I think this week, the Jags don't scare me. So I think I was nervous about the first two, to be honest. Going
Okay.
in LA, and with me being there, I wasn't feeling good about that one. Um, I thought we would win last week, but I remember the last game in Tampa Bay against Tampa Bay in our stadium, and it went down pretty much the same way, but the opposite way,
It
right?
really was. I was like,
So,
well, we had 48 seconds
hmm
when they gave us the ball. I think we gave it to them with 54.
they had more than that. I think it
Okay.
was almost 2 minutes when we scored
It
that
was
touchdown.
under 2 minutes.
That's what I'm saying. It was almost 2 minutes.
Oh, okay.
I know it was under two, but it was closer to 2 minutes because when we scored, I think we was right at the 2 minute mark. So yeah, I think this week we getting we gonna go there. We gonna get in the win column this week. So
Do you think Hunter tracks Nico?
no,
Okay.
I don't think we've seen Hunter track anybody yet. Matter of fact, he hasn't really been starting on defense. They've been putting him in sporadically on defense, which I thought they would do opposite. Makes sense to me that they would have started him on defense and sporadically put him in offense, but they did it the other way around. So I don't think he will track Nico.
Okay.
Um, if he does, I think Nico's size would be a problem for him, but we'll see.
Well, moving into Dallas, who had a
You ain't say who you thought was going to win.
um
Don't just move into Dallas.
okay, so let me say this. First of all, I'm now biased, right?
Okay, yeah, you can't.
Um,
You like of course, what's his name on college game that he can't pick the winners.
right.
You can give an opinion on the game though.
I can give an opinion on the game.
Yeah,
I do think that, we still have the better defense. And I don't really think they have the running game that we just faced this past week. And
mm,
so I think the running game kind of like stalled out some of our other great plays, right? Because just
yeah,
when you probably were getting ready to get a good control on the passing game or getting enough pressure, then they would sneak in the run game right back at you and kind of
yeah.
wear you
They
down. I
dominated
don't
the clock. Yeah,
correct. And I don't anticipate that in Jax. I also think that there's a natural progression of CJ likes to make sure his receiver is happy, right? And so usually when he feels like he didn't really get them the ball, it's like he tries to get back to it real quick.
hmm
I don't know if you ever noticed that pattern.
Oh yeah, he
Um,
did Nico
with
at the beginning of the game.
yeah, so
First pass and first touchdown. Yeah.
I just feel like that, and I would like to see that more. Just being aggressive with the deep ball. I know that plays heavily on the line and things of that nature, but hey, I'd rather that than we're not really sure where we are with the run game. So that's my opinion on that.
hmm
But I'm definitely seeing us in the win column.
Okay, you weren't supposed to call it, but I will take it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I'm biased at the same time, so it
Yeah.
is what it is. But moving on up 45 North, Dallas this week. Shout out to the kicker. I mean, to kick a 64 yarder to tie a game with the clock running out to go into overtime is just top notch. You are severely locked in and focused, and I think that doesn't get enough credit as a
hmm
kicker. As we saw on College Saturday, there are a lot of kickers that wish they made their kick, you know. And
hmm
so I definitely like that. And a old friendly face from the Texans is now signed to the Cowboys, Clowney. And so hopefully he gives them some more upfront pressure that they're looking for. And I really like their week 2 game. I really did. I know that it's never a positive when you give up 400 plus yards to a quarterback, but it's much easier to throw in the trash when you W. So you don't you just you'll say it on everything else and then you'll move on. So hopefully that pressure up front. And I do think this is a very different opponent. Like at the end of the day, Russell has really shown that he can really adapt, right? Like Seattle wasn't just built for him to grow in Seattle. I think people take away from that. He came in, he did some different things when he was with the Steelers, and he's trying to do the same in New York. And I know everybody has short-term memory, so you only as good as your last play. I get that, but you still, when you go back and look at the film, you got to look at the whole game. So there's some nice things there too. So yeah, I'm picking Dallas to beat the Bears. I really hate to see the Bears go down 3, but at this point, I just feel like Dallas is really just a team that's already well put together right now. There are a lot of new things going on in Chicago. Yes, I know the quarterback's been there, the receiver, but it changes significantly when you have a completely new coaching staff running your offense. And Dallas has only had to sprinkle in some other pieces. I know they have a new coach, but he was already in the building.
Yeah, yeah. The offense didn't change.
Yeah.
This game intrigues me a little bit. I mean,
Okay.
because I thought the Bears would be more improved, visibly by now
Okay.
this year, but I'm not. I can't say that I've sat and watched a complete Bears game in the first couple of weeks. So this probably be the first time I probably will, probably watch them with more intent and more focus. But I haven't, you know me, I haven't been down on the Cowboys offense the first 2 weeks. I mean, the first week, I don't think they lost that game because of their offense. I mean,
Mhm.
in the end, yeah, because CD dropping some passes, but
I
the
get the
offense,
style of play, the line, everything.
the offenses look great. It's just they made some mistakes. Second week it was a shootout, right? So me personally, um, I didn't like the way I didn't like, and we didn't really talk about this, but I didn't like the whole taking Russ out and putting Dart in for one play here and there when Russ is cooking. I just didn't like that. I'm glad Russ still ended up throwing touchdowns and playing very, very well. But I was like, why are you doing that? And he's driving. Like in the middle of a drive, you just take him out for one play and put this guy in, and he does nothing. Then you do it again. I don't understand that. But anyway, I think Chicago. I think Dallas wins this game. I'm gonna pick Dallas to win, but I'm intrigued by it. I don't know what the line is going to be. I think it's going to be closer, a close game. And in honor of Coach, I call it a field goal game, especially with
Woo,
with Dallas kicker
woo.
being able to do what he can do. Hopefully, it's not too windy there. That'll be interesting to see too. What the weather forecast is, if there's some wind in play, and how Dallas looks at that. But I'm gonna pick the Cowboys today.
Okay.
It could change Sunday, but hey.
Well, we're only going to talk about 2 more games,
Yeah.
and I want to preface that with one is a dynamic divisional matchup that we saw earlier this year um, in the snow, and it was a great game. And that's the Rams versus Philly. Philly is getting some really good rematch games
Oh yeah.
these first couple of weeks. But overall, I'm really anticipating a good game here. Looking to see how the defense for the Rams continues, to see how that looks. It looked pretty good last week. I know it was against the Titans, but it definitely looked good. And, you know, I'm a firm believer in the way Philly is playing, meaning there's too much discussion on what's not enough yards, what's not enough passing touchdowns. And at the end of the day, the goal is for the 11 on the field to walk away with points.
One more than the other team.
Just one.
Just
I
one.
mean, that's it. You know,
Mhm.
because there's not a person on this earth that said in February that the Eagles were going to destroy the Chiefs. Not that they wouldn't win, destroy. So at the end of the day, this whole like the only way you're good is if you're destroying teams,
Nah,
it has, you know what? That's football math. No, better yet, that's fan math.
that's fan math.
That's
That's
fan math.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
fans make that up. They do that to themselves.
yeah. Because it don't matter.
It don't matter.
There's a W and a L.
That's it. I asked people to show me. Someone was like, well, we only barely lost and they just barely won. I was like, I don't even know where the barely column is.
Mm-mm.
Anyway, if you can find it for me, let me know.
And you know the only time that really matters right after the loss or right after the win, because
I'm sorry. I was thinking about when you barely do something, but yeah.
it's right, but it's right after it happens, though, right? Even if you talk
Right.
about barely doing something, if you look down the season and you say, "Well, what's their record?" You don't go back and say, "Well, they barely beat this person." You said they was 10-7. You know what I'm saying? Or you just say what the record is. You don't go back and say, "Well, they only barely." Who cares?
No, you don't even describe it that way
You
because
don't.
normally what you would say is they were competitive in that game.
Hmm. It was a good
That's
game.
about,
Yeah,
and it was
yeah.
a good game. And
Mhm.
that's pretty much what it was. I mean, overall, I think that Monday night was a good game, right? Like it gave the fandom of football. You had a battle, there's
Yeah.
some back and forth, there's a stop on a 4th and 1, there's a missed field goal. Like you had all the
Yeah, the
things.
block you had all of the elements. It's just
Yeah.
one
One team
side gonna be happy.
and the other one didn't. So exactly.
Yep.
So, but yeah, I think the same.
Yeah.
But moving into our last game, I
You
think
didn't
it's.
pick. You didn't pick a winner, man.
Oh, yeah,
And
I said
I,
the beginning. I picked Philly.
I didn't pick a winner. I picked Philly too. Go ahead. We can go
Oh
to
yeah.
the game of the
Well,
week.
maybe I didn't. Maybe I just was like, okay, I didn't anticipate a change from last year, so that's probably what it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Speaking of,
what's up, Oville? We gave you a shout out earlier when we were talking about SoFi. But yeah, you're right. There's no I barely made there's no barely in anything with sports but horseshoes, because the closer you can get and more points, and maybe darts, right? Because there's points
there's points. Yeah, there's points
if
around,
you
but
don't get the bullseye.
yeah, but
But
you still hitting the point. So yeah. There is no try. Yoda say there is no try. There's do or do not.
And Oville, that's probably on us. We forgot to alert you, but we glad you made it on in. And then our last game, I think it was perfectly set up for Monday night, and it is Detroit versus Baltimore. And I think deep down, this is who most people thought might make it to New Orleans.
Hmm.
So it's quite fun for this to end up on the schedule.
The Super Bowl could have been rematch.
Yeah, yeah,
Super
yeah. I
Bowl.
was like, this is what we wanted to see before like all the injuries in Detroit, but we actually still thought Detroit
It
was
still
on.
got close. Yeah.
Yeah, we thought they were still on that path even in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And same with Baltimore, because we felt like, I think most people felt like last year that Baltimore or the Bills should have been able to beat.
The Chiefs.
You're right. I don't think anyone went into the game with that they're unbeatable. And then once they made it to New Orleans, that is why I think most people initially just went with them, because they were like, well, they overcame this, they overcame that,
Of
and they're
course they're gonna.
here. Of
Yeah. Here we go
course
again.
they're gonna
Yeah.
win. Yeah. I
They did
wasn't
the same
one
thing
of
the year
them.
before.
Yeah, I wasn't one of them, but I saw that I could understand the logic. It wasn't far fetched. So
Mm-hmm.
even with saying all of that, uh, I honestly think that Baltimore is still a better built machine right now. I think there was some drop off when you lose both of your coordinators at the same time and keep the head coach. Not saying that doesn't mean the head coach doesn't have their role and they don't have the right people in place to continue, but there's just some natural camaraderie that we used to see. We could see it on the sideline, you know. It fits to why you, like you said earlier, Ben would say no, I'm not leaving, because there was some things that just gelled. And I think for Baltimore they have a lot of that, even when they've added in Hopkins. And first of all, Hopkins is like the perfect example of the receiver that can show up everywhere and catch a ball, because we already know he had dang near 10 quarterbacks throw to him when he just in Houston. So I think
Mm-hmm.
he's like the perfect guy that you could just piecemeal into your team if you
Mm-hmm.
have a team already working. So I think that was a great fit, for him. So
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Agreed. I On this one, I'm thinking. I mean, you saw Detroit put up a lot of points last week. I think they was motivated because of because of Chicago and the coach coming back. But I think I think Green Bay showed Baltimore the blueprint on this offense and how to kind of stipend this offense. And going into Baltimore is going to be a different beast if than being at home against Chicago. So I think the Ravens win this game. I don't think Detroit defense is very good. I'll be honest.
okay.
I don't think they're very good. I don't think they've been very good. I think they've schemed well with their pass protection, but I think their secondary is a little suspect. And so we'll see how they're able to handle Baltimore. I don't think this will be a close game. I think Baltimore wins this game pretty handily.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not gonna do too much fighting on that.
Mm-hmm.
And Gonzalez, we're just gonna say happy birthday. Okay, we just I should have read that before. So I could have been only so I could have been prepared. I still would have showed your message. I just wasn't prepared. I actually put the message up,
I
and
saw your eyes.
so my eyes got big because I read it as it was up there. So
I had already read it, so I knew what you was bugging on. That's why
so I can't.
that's
I
why I
can't.
let it be.
I can't.
Yeah,
So
I saw that suit though. That was crazy.
yeah, and so shout out to QB King. You need to go follow him. If you got a quarterback you think you growing up in your household, you need to get that arm right. That's the guy. But anyway, with that, I just don't think that you're going to be able to stop both. It's either Hop going it's going to be Hop going to get the ball, or Henry and Lamar going to run all over you.
Hey,
It's just like you got to pick your battles.
I don't think it's an either or. I think one is gonna open the other. It
That's
is.
true. I mean, look, there are some places
Mhm.
that I have marked off my list until I feel like I can get in a better position mentally to 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 go back and watch a game.
I'm going.
I know you going because you haven't done it.
I'm going.
That's a different vibe.
Yeah.
That's a different vibe. And
I
so
mean,
that's what
I
we're
got
talking
a
about.
I got a different conflict that's
Derek is
coming
going
up.
to he's going to go to the Texans Baltimore game. We're in a different place.
Yeah, but every time I try to go, something comes up, and now I got a work obligation that could kind of dampen it. But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah,
I'm still gonna try to go. I'm still gonna
I
try.
just know
I gotta get it over with. I don't want to wait. I'd rather see Lamar live there. So I'm here. I'd rather see him live there in his element than to wait till he's gone. Because if it don't happen this time, I'm just waiting till he out of there. He got to go before
well,
I
let
go.
me just tell you, my first time seeing us play Baltimore was in Baltimore in the playoffs on the muff punt. Well, God rest his soul, Jacoby Jones.
Jacoby. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the reflector, and it just
Yeah.
and freezing. Like,
Yeah.
shout out to my crew. They like had icicles in their beards. Like it was freezing,
I remember you told me that. Yeah.
right? And I was very strategic. I looked to see which way the sun hit. And I told them, y'all buy y'all tickets. I'm gonna buy a solo ticket. And I sat on the other side of the look, I'm always using my engineering mind. So look, y'all tell y'all kids. I know everybody got all these majors they like. Maybe they want med school. That's cool too. But I'm telling you, people don't believe me. They say it's business, but engineering is the most universal degree you could ever get in your life. It applies to everything. People keep talking about this math, that math. You don't use it. You will always use your engineering, because that is exactly what I did when I picked my seat, because I wanted to make sure I could get some warmth. And I ended up giving them all of my little hot pocket stuff because I had a little sun, on my side where I picked. I always look that up. I look at the pictures and see where people sit and see who's getting sunlight, because the sun don't move. Unless you a flat earther, maybe you think something different. But if you know how the sun revolves and how it rises and where it sets, you should be able to identify where to sit. And that engineering mind kick in every time. I know if it's a snow field, that if you sit down low on the newest stadium, they got heat underneath that's melting snow on the field. So you gonna sit closer. And people are like, oh, how was your that cold game? It's colder outside the stadium than it is in this right seat in the right spot.
Yeah.
So it still was a nightmare to be there. And then I decided to punish myself and go back and destroy again. Oh, but then I decided I wanted to see CJ's first game in the league. Now that was different because it wasn't destroyed. It was a lot of optimism, but an L.
Yeah, still a L.
And then I went back in the playoffs. And for 2 quarters, I was okay. But y'all, that was the coldest loss. And so at this point, I'm up to 4 losses in Baltimore. And yeah, it's just rough on your girl. And so when we were talking in the group, when we were talking in a group about going back, I was like, I done been through 3 quarterbacks in Baltimore. And my heart is breaking. My heart is breaking.
Yeah. Let me go without you then. So let me see what happens.
Yeah, you go without me. but here's a caveat. Losing in LA is not so bad. So I don't mind going back to
LA. Yeah, it's LA.
Shout out to Gonzalez. He said, come we need that Charger bank to jump them up. Oh, well, hey. He probably that Charger bank that he had, he could have powered a heater.
That generator. That was a generator.
He might have been able to provide electricity to the whole stadium with that power bank. He ain't gonna never live that down.
Never.
I want to know where it's at. We should have took a picture. Yeah. We failed in that moment to get a picture.
We did.
I think we were so caught off guard that he really had it.
We were still trying to figure out what it was. What is this? What are you doing?
Y'all, I'm gonna find that model, and we're gonna put that picture. I'm telling you,
I still can't believe none of us got a picture though. You're right.
It was like the first model of a laptop.
No. It might have been about that.
It was thick.
That juggle was huge.
This is so embarrassing. I'm so sorry.
It's every time. Why you do that, Gonzalez? Why you do that?
Gonzalez, it's your fault. But that's how you know it was a good story and hilarious, because Gonzalez to even
he wasn't there.
But
Oville was there.
We told that story with such authenticity
Man,
that you can't do nothing but laugh.
man.
I mean, the thing was about this big.
It was huge and about this thick.
And I don't, you know what's sad, guys? We were on a road trip in Vegas, obviously, because this happened when we went to play the Raiders. And the thing about it is, I don't remember seeing that the whole weekend. Like we had all been hanging out for a
No.
couple of days. I
He said
don't
he
even
forgot
know
it was in his bag. How you walked from where we parked to the stadium and didn't realize that was in your bag is crazy. But hey,
because we got picked up. We
you
got picked up.
right. You
So
right.
you came downstairs.
Phil drove.
Oh, Bill drove,
You right.
and we were less than 5 minutes from the stadium.
You right.
So he picked us up on his way to the stadium. So why would you bring that down from your?
So just store them government secrets.
Where is he? I wish he was hearing this right now. We gonna need him next week.
Yeah.
Ooh.
We need coach to come to the front of the front of the congregation one more time. Come to the front of the congregation one more
He
again.
done made me cry. Thank goodness I only have on lipstick because I would have ran all the makeup
All right.
off
All
my
right.
face.
On that note.
Yes, on that note, guys, we again thank you for joining us. We back Wednesdays. We're gonna spice it up a little bit, try to get in some special guests and some different topics.
Yeah.
Stay on the lookout. Go add to your browser fansnob.com because that's coming soon, real soon, not real soon. And so again, we thank you for being here. And shoot, we're gonna catch you next time. I forgot how to get out of here though. No, in fairness, guys, we're
in the stream.
but they changed everything. Man, every time we come back with a new season, they come in and redo everything. It's like they keep trying to change it.
In the
And
stream.
so
Get us out of here.
I'm trying. I don't even know where to go at this point.
Just
Where's the word outro? Boom,
just hit
there
the
it
button.
is.
Just hit the button.